Welcome to Sotantra education. In this lecture, we are going to discuss some more concepts on inheritance. So consider this class person. It has two attributes. One is name of type string, another one is age of type int. So for simplicity, we are considering only two attributes. Now we have another class employee, that is a subclass of the person class. That's why we have written class employee extends person. That means employee class is derived from the person class. Now we are writing print name and print age, or we can say system.out.println name, system.out.println age. So in the previous lecture we have discussed that age, name and age are the members of person class. So we can access these members name and age from the subclass of the person class. So here employee is a subclass of the person class. That's why we can access the members name and age that are defined in the person class. So till now we don't have any issues. Now if we write private here, that means private string name, and similarly here also private int age. So if we write private, the access specifier, then we know that the private attributes can only be accessed within that class only. We have already discussed this concept. So if one data member is private, then that data member cannot be accessed from outside that class. Suppose for example we can write class A, and inside class A we have one member private int x. Suppose only one member is there, then we cannot access this x from outside this class A. Similarly here also, if we write private here, private string name and private int age, then we cannot access this name and age, that means private members, outside the class person. That means we cannot access here also in the derived class, and in that scenario the system.out.println name is going to throw an compilation error. Here also system.out.println age is going to throw a compilation error. So here in this one you can see, if we write private string name and private int age, then we cannot access the variable name and age outside the class person, and here in the employee class we are trying to access the private members of the person class, so that is not allowed, and this statement results a compilation error. Similarly this statement also results a compilation error. So now we can see the implementation of it. So now we can see the program that we have discussed. So we are creating one object of employee class. So employee equal to new employee, and on the object E we are calling the display method. So now let us check the output. No error. So it is showing null 0 because we have not initialized this name and age. That's why here in the print name, print age, it is showing the default values. Now if I write here private, then what will happen? Let us check. So here also let us write private. So this one is small p. Okay. So only one member, that is string, we are writing private, and int, let it be default one. So now if we compile this program, so it is showing an error because name has private access in person. That means here we have written that name is private, so we cannot access this name outside the class person. Even employee is a subclass of person, we cannot access this name from the employee class. So now consider we have a class person and it has two members, one is name and another one is age. So this is class person. Now we have another class employee, that is a subclass of person. So that's why we have written class employee extends person, and in the employee class we have one attribute or one member, that is salary is of type int. So here you can observe this employee class is a subclass of the person class. That's why employee has all the attributes and behaviors of this person class. Or we can say employee is also a person. This is the basic principle of inheritance. That means the easier relationship between the base class and the derived class. That's why we can say employee is a person, or we can say formally object of class employee is automatically an object of class person. So if we write this, we can write like in this way: employee object can be of type person, because every employee is a person. So how to create one object of employee? This one, how to create one object of employee? So we can create in this way: new employee. So in this way we can create an object of employee class. Now this employee class can be of employee object can be of type person. So we can write like this: person P1 equal to new employee. So here you can observe the declared type of P1 is person, and the actual type of P1 is employee. So from this we can conclude that, or we can say that a superclass variable can reference a subclass object. So here P1 is a superclass variable, that means P1 is a variable of type person, and it can refer to one employee object, that means it can refer one object of its subclass. So that's why we can say a superclass variable can reference a subclass object, or we can say like this. Here you can see a variable of type A can hold reference to object of class A or objects belonging to subclass A. So now consider this class person, and it has only one method, that is display person, and inside display person we are just printing person details. Now we have another class employee, that is a subclass of the person, and in the employee class we are just defining the display method, display employee, and this display employee method just prints employee details. Now we are writing another class test, and in the class test we are writing the main method, and we are writing person p equal to new employee, that is the reference variable p is going to refer one object of employee class. So we can write in this way. Just now we have discussed person p equal to new employee because p can refer to the objects of class person and the objects of subclass person. So as employee is a subclass of p, so we can write person p. Employee is a subclass of person, so we can write person p equal to new employee. So no issues. Now if we write here p dot display person, that means if we invoke the display person method on the object p, then this display person method is going to be invoked and the output will be person details. So if we execute this program, the output will be person details. This one, no issues. Now instead of p dot display person, if we write here p dot display employee, that means we want to invoke the display employee method on the object p, then it is going to throw an compilation error. This statement is going to throw a compilation error. So why? Because the declared type determines what members can be accessed. So here what is the declared type of p here? So the declared type of p is person, and in the person class this display employee method is not there. So the person class do not have any knowledge about the additional members that are added by the subclass. So it is not possible for declared type person to access the method display employee because this person class has no information, or this person has no information about this display employee method, or we can say this person class has no information about the additional members that are added in the subclass employee. So if we write p dot display employee, it is going to throw an error because the person class has no information about this method display employee. So we are going to get an error. Write the method void display person, and here we are just printing person details. Person details, no issues. Now here also let us copy this one, and in the employee class just write employee details. So here name of the method is display employee, and here it is employee details. Employee details. Now we can create one object of employee, and with the reference type person we are going to refer it, or we can say we are creating one reference variable of type person, and that reference variable is going to refer one object of employee. Now if we write p dot display person, so it is going to give the output person details. Let us check. Okay, successfully compiled, no error. So it is showing person details. Now just change this one to display employee instead of display person. Again compile. So it is going to throw an error, cannot find symbol p dot display employee. So we are getting the error because this person class has no information about the method display employee, and because p is of type person and in the person class no information about display employee, that's why we are getting the error like we have discussed. So now consider this program. So it is similar to the previous one instead of this statement only. So previously we are writing person p equal to new employee. Now we are writing employee e equal to new employee. So now if we write e dot display employee, so what will be the output? It is going to print employee details. If we add this statement e dot display employee and execute this program, so we are going to get this output employee details because we are calling the display employee method on object e. So this display employee method gets invoked or gets executed. So how this display employee method gets executed? So because e here is of type employee, so we search for the display employee method in the class employee, and we found that, or the compiler found that, not we. So the compiler finds this method and it executes. Now similarly if we write e dot display person, so if we write e dot display person and execute this one, so we will get the output like this one, person details. So it is capital D here also, person details. So when we add this statement e dot display person, so e is of type employee. Here we are writing employee e equal to new employee. So the type of e is employee, and that's why we are going to search, or the compiler is going to search the display person method in the employee class. So here no display person method is there in the employee class. Then the compiler moves to the superclass of employee. So what is the superclass of employee? Person. And in the person class it is going to search the display person method here. So in the person class it finds the display person method, because we are calling the display person method, and here it finds display person and executes that one. That means it prints person details. So if we write e dot display employee, it is going to print employee details. If we write e dot display person, is going to print person details. So the main concept here is that, so first the compiler is going to search in the class for the method. Then if the method is not found in the class, then it is going to search in the superclass of that class, and in this way it is going to continue. Now consider this program. So we have one class person similar to the previous one, and here the name of the method is display instead of display person. Similarly we have employee class, that is a subclass of person, and here also the name of the method is display instead display employee, and this display method prints employee display, and this display method inside the class person prints person details. Now we have another class test, and in the class test we are writing the main method. Then we are creating one object e of type employee or of class employee. Now here you can observe this method is display, and here also this method is display. That means the name of the method is same, display. The parameter list also same, so it is empty. That results the signature of these two methods are same. That means this one signature display, signature means the name and the parameter list. So here display parameter list is empty, here also display the parameter list is empty. So both the signature are same in the parent class and in the child class. Now here you can observe, if we write e dot display, then what we will get the output. So if we write e dot display, then it is going to print employee details, because if we write e dot display, so what is the type of e? So the type of e is employee. So in the employee class it is going to search the display method. Then we find the display method, or the display method was there in the employee class, that's why it is going to print employee details. So here you can observe we are rewriting the display method of the parent class in the child class, or we can say we are overriding this display method that is given in the base class in the derived class. So we are overriding the display method in the derived class, and previously the definition was also there in the base class, and this concept is called as method overriding. That means if we redefine or restructure the method that is given in the parent class, and we restructure that in the child class. And this concept is called as method overriding, because we are overriding this display method here in the employee class. And when we call e.display, so it is going to execute this method only, not this one. Or it is similar to the previous concept that we have discussed just now. So if we write e.display, then this display method is searched in the employee class and it finds that display method is here, and it is going to execute this system.out.println employee details. So the employee details is going to be displayed on the screen. Now we will modify this one to see the example of method overriding, and here we are just writing display, and here you can observe this one is employee. We can write employee and the object name is e. Now here e.display. So if we write e.display, then we are going to get the output employee details. Let us check. So here we are getting the output employee details. So you can see here, because e is an object of type employee, that's why this method gets executed. Now if we change this one to person p equal to new person, then this method is going to be executed if we call the display method. So let us check that one also. Person, assume the object name is p. You can also take e, no issues, but for simplicity we are writing p as it is related to person. New person, then p.display. Okay. So it is saying person details, no issues. Like we have discussed, it is going to show this one person details, or it is going to invoke this method. So here I am taking the object name as p. You can take any identifier. For simplicity, I am taking p. That means the first letter of this person class. You can take e, z, anything, any identifier you can take. Here we discussed that when a method in a subclass has the same name and signature as a method in superclass, then the method in subclass is set to override the method in superclass. So here in this example, the display method in employee class overrides the display method in person class, and this concept is called as method overriding. So I hope this one is clear to everyone. Now consider this one. So it is this program is similar to the previous one. So only the change is in this statement. So void display string s, and here we are printing employee details plus s. So here you can observe the name of the method is display, and here it is taking one string parameter, and here the parameter list is empty. That means although the name is same, the parameter list is different. That's why the signature of this method and this method are different, because the signature of a method is equal to, we can say, name plus parameter list. So name plus parameter, or we can say name and parameter list of a method constitutes the signature. So here, although the name is same display, as the parameter list are different, these two methods are different, we can say, or the signature of these two methods are different. Now if we write this one, employee E equal to new employee, E dot display, if we write, then it is going to search this display method in the employee class, because the type of E is employee, and here it finds display method. But the signature here you can observe, the parameter list is empty, but here it is taking one parameter, so the signature is not matching. That's why it is going to search this display method in the superclass of employee class, that means in the person class, and in the person class it finds the display method and the signature is also matching, so it is going to execute this method and it prints person details. Now if we write E dot display and pass any string value, suppose Raju. So here you can observe display and we are passing one string argument, so this method is going to invoked or executed and it is going to print employee details Raju. So here you can observe, although the method name is same, the signature is different, so this concept is not method overriding, because we are not overriding this method here, we are defining another method with the same name. So if the name is same but the parameter list is different, this concept is called as method overloading. So we have already discussed in the previous lecture, you can find while we are discussing about methods, at that time we have discussed method overloading, so you can go through this. Now just pass one value here, that is suppose string s we are passing, and here assume this is employee P equal to new employee. Now we are writing P dot display, that means this method should get invoked and it should print person details. And this is example of method overloading, because this method and this method are different, because here no parameter is there and here one string parameter is there. That's why these two methods are different and we are calling the display method without any parameter, without any argument, that means this one we are calling. So it should display person details on the screen. Let us check. Okay, so here you can observe it is showing person details. Now if we pass any value here, suppose Raju, any string argument here, then we are calling this method, because here you can observe display then string, so display then string, so this method should execute and it is going to print employee details. So let us check. Okay, so it is showing employee details, so here you can observe. Now suppose we are writing some method, assume this one display method is here. Now if we want to prevent this method to override, that means we don't want that some child class override this method. So to prevent this, or for this we can add the keyword final. So if we write final void display, then the child class employee cannot override this method display here. or the child class employee is not allowed to override the display method if we write final here. That means we can say the keyword final, if we write the keyword final before a method, then that method cannot be overridden by a subclass. So now we will see its implementation. Now we are simply see the use of the keyword final. So if we write final void display, then we have discussed that this display method should not be overridden, but we are trying to override the display method here, or we are redefining the display method in the child class, although it is final. That's why the compiler should throw an error. Let us check whether the compiler is throwing the error or not. Okay, so it is showing the error. So display in employee cannot be override display in person because we are using the final. So here it is written overridden method is final. That's why it is showing an error, because final methods cannot be overridden.